Going on to you, Cancer Crabs. So you have the Nine of Swords, the Four of Cups, Emperor, Eight of Wands, Tower, Ace of Swords, Five of Swords, Ace of Wands, Queen of Wands, the Chariot, which is Cancer Crabs. So you did show up in your own reading. And then you have the higher octave of you, which is Scorpio. A lot of you Cancer Crabs may be worried about a particular situation between yourselves and a would-have been loved one. The Nine of Swords, the Four of Cups, how it is that some of you Cancer Crabs, you tried to be with them, you tried to get to know them, but obviously it didn't work out. They had their own people, right? They thought they were pretty much too good for you. But a lot of you Cancer Crabs don't want them to come back. Good. And you just tried to be with them, and things ultimately really didn't work out. So the Emperor now represents, so as a result of this, you Cancer Crabs are, if they ever try to come back, you'll tell them no. You just won't accept them back. You'll ignore them, or you'll tell them to leave you alone or something like this. However, you're not really going back. And the Emperor is about making that decision and actually not budging on that decision. The Eight of Wands represents how, because at this current point in time, you know for a fact that you don't want to date them. It's not that you don't necessarily want to date, you just don't necessarily want to date them. And a lot of you Cancer Crabs may have no problem letting them know that. It's just a matter of if they're going to come back or not. Because it seems to me as if you're already done with this particular situation already. And you know why you're done. But the Eight of Wands represents, as a result, how it is that you're able to move forward, like I said, with your life, but also you know why you're moving forward. And if these people ever try to come back, then you will tell them no, and you'll know why. You don't want them back because every time the two of y'all get together, or you tried it before and it didn't work out. The Tower is about how it would end up like this, a tower. The two of you, that's my dog. The two of you would build something with each other only to have it essentially torn down because the two of you have way too many differences between each other. There's way too many differences between the two of you. So as a result of that, it's a relationship that could have never really worked out because of the differences. To put it bluntly, you're like Tariq and Effie. The two of you are so much alike in one regard, but in another regard different. The two of y'all are not cut from the same cloth. Effie is the type of person that is super selfish. Tariq is the type of person that's super selfish too, but learning how to not be so selfish through experiences. So, right? But then at the same time, the Ace of Swords represents, so a lot of you Cancer Crabs realize that the best thing for you to do is to ultimately just stop fighting. And that's one thing that a lot of you Cancer Crabs are just not going to do. You're not going to be fighting anymore. The Five of Swords and the Eight of Wands, right? The Five of Swords is about, things between you and this person just don't seem to work. One of the people that you're getting to know in particular, I'm talking about why things don't really work out between them and you. And that, if the two of you got on the same page, it could have been cool, but the two of you are not on the same page. So when y'all get together, it's always some nonsense going on. And the thing about it is, the Five of Swords now represents how the two of you ultimately, cause each other's downfall. But then you have the Ace of Wands, and the Ace of Wands represent how a lot of you Cancer crabs need to start making better decisions, or you needed to. So you did. You decided that the both of you wasn't really a good match, so the both of you should separate forever. And the Queen of Wands represents, because a lot of you Cancer crabs have the mentality that you'll always be this way. And, you know, and this person will always be this way. And to be honest with you, that's okay. You know, not everybody is supposed to be in a relationship with one another, you know, forever. And again, this goes right back into what it is I was saying about this goes right back into what it is that I was saying about the whole Tariq and Effie situation. You know, it's the idea that, you know, Tariq is becoming this way, Effie's becoming this way, and the two of you just ultimately grow apart. It's not something per se where it's necessarily bad or good. It's something where, you know, when people get together, sometimes, you know, even if they're in a very close relationship at first, they grow apart. And that's just naturally sometimes how relationships occur. And a lot of times the overriding fear of it is splitting up. You can tell the over attachment to some people because it's the fear of splitting up. The idea of now it's a situation of now, you know, it's a situation of like you know, you can't seem to be able to get along. You can't seem to be able to actually, you know, either that or maybe the two of you were good, but the two of you decided mutually that it wasn't going to work out, you know, stuff like that. And that type of stuff is natural as far as a relationship is concerned. It just lets you know that you and the person weren't compatible, right, for a long-term thing. Because we need to go over this. Sometimes people are looking for relationships that are supposed to last forever. And again, this is what it is I'm talking about. People don't really understand that not every relationship is supposed to last forever. And this goes to show you the codependency and the misconception that a lot of people have. The idea that you can't seem for some odd reason to get over yourself. The idea of sometimes relationships are not supposed to last forever. And that's okay. And then the thing is that the Chariot now represents, you just have to understand that, right? You know, the two of you had to understand that in order for the two of you to actually grow. But how you're growing is apart. You're not together because the two of you naturally grew apart. And that's okay. You know? So let's clarify some of these cards. Let's clarify the Chariot. You have the Three of Wands, the Hanged Man, the Empress, and the Justice. So a lot of Libra, a lot of Pisces, which is the higher octave of Libra, excuse me. So the Three of Wands, right? It represents how, so you Cancer crabs are just, you know, at this point, with you knowing all of this or you finding out all of this because of my readings, now a lot of you Cancer crabs realize like, okay, you shouldn't really be looking at it like it's necessarily a bad thing. You just have to look at it for the future in that sense. And then the Hanged Man and the Empress is about ultimately you Cancer crabs, you know, waiting until, you know, just letting time heal all wounds in a sense of letting time pass by, right? And becoming less attached as time goes on. And then of course the Empress and the Justice represents, because ultimately 2 months, 6 months, a year down the road, the two of you are pretty much going to forget each other's name. And how it is that you felt about this person, and if this person is decent themselves with that condition, how they feel about you is going to be different. It's going to change, but it's going to be different. you know, and the two of you will ultimately move on with your lives.